Hello everyone, my name is Tomco and today I'm showing you how to make the redstone drawbridge. I've been wanting to make one of these for ages and I've finally got a design which looks good, works good, and is actually reliable in Bedrock. No way! Oh, we press the button and this massive flying machine, whatever this is, machine, comes towards us. And it's actually got an alright animation. Yes, it's not the best, you can see some slime, but then when it's here, we can walk this way. Whatever you want to do on a bridge, you can do it, I guess. You can press this button and it scoots up behind us. I like the animation of it coming this way. Literally looks like it's just being pushed by its own thing. It's kind of cool. So some key points about this thing. It is 10 blocks long and then 2 blocks wide. And no, it cannot be made any bigger. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could put 2 of these next to each other to get it 4 blocks wide. And you can of course make it smaller than 10 blocks long, but no bigger than 10 and no bigger than 4. Looking at the redstone, yeah, this thing's actually really small and relatively simple. Until you look at the flying machine, which looks like a massive mess, but I promise you, it's not too bad. And this thing will never break, so you never have to look at that again. You can pretty much look at this, see how it works. It's basically a flying machine on that end, there's a flying machine on that end, and they just coincide and push this long block of blocks. So to build it, this is everything you're going to need. Now bear in mind, you're also going to need a rail to be able to place this minecart, but the rail's going to be destroyed afterwards. So technically you need it, technically it's not going to be used up. I don't really know what to do with it. And then this could also be honey blocks as well, but slime blocks are a bit easier to get. Once you got all of this, we can get started. Now you're also going to need a 4x31 block area. Yes, it is a bit extreme, but you have to take it into account. You know, the flying machine's got to have a home when it's not already extended. So this is what all of this is out for. And this is where your actual bridge is going to go. The ground level is going to be 3 blocks above it, so you're going to have to clear out at least 3 blocks. This is exactly where your 10 block bridge is going to go. I recommend you have this in place. It's going to make it so much easier for the tutorial. And this is going to be on the other side too. And by looking at it sideways, you can kind of see where it starts off. You know, it's 3 blocks from the left. This is where the first block is, then the 10, and then the second one. So we'll have something like this in your survival world or creative world ready to be built on. It just makes it way easier. Right, tutorial time. Okay, so hopefully you have something like this set up right now, because I will be working from this just because it makes this whole process just that little bit easier. So the very first thing that you have to do, and I know it's really annoying, is swapping this block out for your terracotta block. Now bear in mind, I'm going to be making my actual bridge out of glass just to make it easier for you guys to see what's actually going on. But you can make the bridge out of any block. Literally any block that can be pushed by pistons, this bridge can be made out of. Even terracotta if you really wanted to. And then another thing that you have to do is also add another 2 blocks to the end of this. And this one, so the opposite side to what that one on, is also going to have to be terracotta as well. So in total, the actual bridge is 12 blocks long. But the only bridge that is actually bridgeable is 10 blocks long. If that makes sense, I'll explain why in just a little bit. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working from this right hand side over here all the way to the left hand side. And bear in mind, this side is the side that the actual flying machine is going to go into and rest. So it's going to come out towards this direction. So the next thing you actually are going to need to do, I was meant to say this earlier but my bad, I forgot, is you're actually going to need to remove another layer of these blocks here. And this is since slime blocks are going to be touching this. If this was all here, they wouldn't actually work. So you're just going to have to remove another one of these blocks, or if you really don't want to remove them, replace them with a block that isn't affected by slime, like obsidian. But yes, I know, this is my bad, and you only have to do this for the blocks though, which are going to be under the flying machine. So now you can go ahead and place in your first couple of slime blocks, and they're going to be here just like that. You're going to place another slime block underneath them. No, underneath them. Why is that not going underneath? Underneath them to make this T-type of shape here. On this side, you want a sticky piston going towards the right, and on the other side, you want an observer just facing upwards like that. And you can also see why we actually had to remove them blocks earlier, as otherwise this slime block would be touching it. You then want to come around to the opposite side, which the terracotta's on. You want to place a block here. Then you want to place in 2 regular pistons just like that. And this is going to be the start of the actual bit of the flying machine which pushes all of your brick blocks. You then want to come down and you want to place a temporary block here, an observer going into this slime block. So let's say of course there's an update, it makes that piston extend. You want to place a sticky piston under it, facing the same direction as this one. Then you want to place an observer on top of this sticky piston going towards this block. Now this can be a little bit difficult to do, so what you may have to do is destroy this slime block, place it there, and then place the slime block back. That's absolutely fine. And since we're now actually going to be making an actual fly machine, you really want to just keep this thing in place by placing one of your obsidian blocks just there. So this will stop it from moving, and because that would not be good. Then coming away from this sticky piston, you want to place in 3 slime blocks. So 1, 2, and 3. And then you need to place another one here. We're going to put an obsidian going into this slime block with a sticky piston in front of it. Come round over here and place a sticky piston going into that block. Come back round to this side, and on top of this block, you can place another sticky piston. Come back around to this side. I know, it's annoying. Place an observer here. Observer going this way. And a sticky piston going into that block. So from this side, it looks like this. And if I were to go ahead and look on the other side, it looks like this. Yes, I know this is complicated, but I promise you, that is the most difficult part of this entire thing. And the even better part is, the rest of it is pretty much just the same thing, but mirrored on the other side. Then I want to place in a 2x2 bit of slime blocks, just like that. Come round, destroy these 2 blocks temporarily, and place in 2 observers facing downwards, as you can see, facing downwards. And now is the time that I'm actually just going to be completely mirroring the entire design. But I'll also walk through it with you. So you want to place a sticky piston here, coming away. On the other side, you want to place a sticky piston going into it. You want to place in 2 slime blocks here. Another 2 here. Observer going into this sticky piston. Piston on top of that. Come around to the side. Observer. Another observer. With another sticky piston. Then you actually want to swap this terracotta around. I got that confused again. And you also want to do another T, just like you did earlier. So it looks something like that. Like you see, so far it's exactly the same as we have on this side too. So just like earlier, you want to not throw sticky pistons, but you want to place one going into there. You want to have an observer just facing upwards, going into this slime block. Place another slime block here. And 2 regular pistons going into both of them blocks. Place a temporary block here, an observer just going into that. A sticky piston, come all the way around to the side, destroy the slime block, observer there, and then place it black. And surprisingly, that is the entire flying machine done. But before we test it, we're actually better off just making sure it doesn't go anywhere. So you want to put your other pieces of obsidian just here for now. We are going to move this later, so bear that in mind. So we're actually going to start off on this side. We're going to put a block here, redstone dust, a sticky piston coming down with an observer in front of that. Put another piece of dust here, then a regular piston facing upwards, a rail, a minecart on top of that, and then just destroy this rail like so. Then you want to put a block next to this sticky piston, 2 blocks up, destroy these 2 blocks, and then a tripwire hook on here like so. And now we need to go ahead and move to the other side. But just right before we do that, we may as well add in our button. So put a block on top of here, and then put your button on top of here, and anything going into this redstone line will be your input block. So coming around to the other side, you want to first place a terracotta block here. This has to be terracotta or obsidian. Then put another terracotta block below this, another terracotta block here. I'm going to set this redstone repeater to 3 ticks, redstone dust here. 2 blocks behind this, more redstone dust, and the repeater going down, I also set to 3 ticks. It may look useless because it's going into an observer, but when this entire fly machine is back there, this is what actually sets off to go forward. And this one will activate this sticky piston, which will push the entire thing backwards. And then you want to just add another piece of redstone dust here, a block on top of that, get yourself observer and a sticky piston out. I'm going to place an observer here. 2 blocks up, sticky piston in front of that with a block, and then a button on top of that. So now to connect these 2 sides together, you're going to have to put a tripwire hook on top of the sticky piston, get all the string in the world out, and you actually want to link these 2 together with this string. When they are connected, as you can see, the tripwire hook goes flat. And so now is actually time to test that this thing works. But before you do that, I recommend you quit the world. You wait for this thing to load. You press this button. You go down and you make a copy of it. Because the last thing you want to happen is for that to break when you test it, and then you have to build it all over again. But of course, if you can't make a copy, you're just going to have all the faith in the world, I guess. So now they're actually in the world, we can then get this obsidian block, and you actually want to move it backwards. So you want to destroy it here, and then you want to move it all the way backwards to the end of our little strip here, just like that. So if I were to count the distance for you, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks. There's another 11 block gap between this and that obsidian. So now it is the moment of truth. So when we press this button, we should see the flying machine moving back just like this. Very good. I suggest you keep a very close eye on this thing just to make sure nothing breaks and it works exactly as it's meant to. As you see, also gone perfectly in line with this wall, so great. We then press this button to make sure it goes the other way too. You see, everything is working perfectly. As long as it makes it to this end, which it did, that is the actual flying machine, all the redstone bits done. One thing I will tell you to be careful of is not to jump on this tripwire hook, as you will activate the as you will just activate it. But let's say you had lava at the bottom of a pit which this thing was covering. I don't think anybody would jump into it anyways, so now is actually time to decorate this thing. And whilst decorating, I suggest you make sure to actually put another piece of obsidian just on the end, just so, let's say, oh no, you actually sent it, it doesn't go anywhere. This can get really annoying whilst you're trying to decorate. So, I suggest you decorate with either glazed terracotta blocks, or like I did over here, I use shulker boxes. Because shulker boxes and glazed terracotta blocks are both not moved by slime blocks. But you could also use something like obsidian, but for this case I'm going to be using glazed terracotta blocks because it's just a bit easier to place. Glazed terracotta blocks here, 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 and then 2 more here like so. Then the rest of this can actually just be placed in with normal blocks. Making sure you go around this tripwire hook and you actually do leave that bit open. I'm also going to go ahead and destroy the rest of this just because I think it looks a bit ugly being in the way. So just get rid of all of that stuff. You also fill in the rest of this island, but if you're making it in survival, you probably already have the rest of this place covered anyways. Then now we can actually move on to decorating this other half. And to do that, it's actually best to decorate it when the flying machine's over there, so we may as well just give it a test run. Now that it's on the other side, what you want to do is actually want to place terracotta blocks here, terracotta blocks here. I'm going to come down and under here. I'm going to place in terracotta blocks here and here. And then blocks here and blocks here. These top ones, they don't have to be terracotta blocks. And then if you come around to the back, just to make sure that doesn't activate, these ones don't have to be, this one does have to be, and then this one doesn't have to be. And then we can go ahead and fill in the rest of our floor over here. We can fill in the rest of this bit as well. Now you need to make sure to fill in the blocks around the string as well. Otherwise it looks a little bit stupid, and the best way to do that is just something like this. So now we can do a final test just to make sure it's working. There we go, it's all going in nicely. And so what actually happened here is this observer actually managed to push this terracotta blocks out of the way. But obviously you could just leave it like this with a hole here, but if you really don't want the hole, you can actually just destroy this. Place a block there, place a sticky piston, another observer facing upwards, and then just link it up like this. Bit of an annoying workaround, but that's just in case you don't want to have any holes in that thing. And there we go, that is how you make a working, expendable bridge, fly machine, machine gun Bobby. Yes, this thing is actually really cool. I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and I'm actually quite proud of it. Anyways, that is all from me, and I will see you all later. Any questions, just be sure to let me know. And if this is not working for you, just make sure you double check everything, make lots of copies, and also hit me up in the comments, and I will try my best to help you out. But that's all from me, and I will see you all later. Bye!